Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Geopolitics. Today we're going to be going over the latest developments in Ukraine for July the 16th. So, looking at Siversk, which is the epicenter of the fighting, here in blue I've highlighted the areas that I believe the Russians pretty much should be controlling. There's some contradictory evidence coming out of this area lately. A few days ago, the Russians claimed that they have established operational control over Siversk. But since then, we haven't really heard much. Also, a few days ago, the Russians claimed that they have established control over Verkno-Kamyanske. But just today, we're hearing that they're shelling Verkno-Kamyanske. So, do they control it? Do they not? Or maybe the Ukrainians are attacking them from the flank, because these settlements in white are controlled by the Ukrainians. So maybe the Ukrainians have launched a counterattack, and maybe they're trying to cut off this bulge and leave the Russian troops in the outskirts of Siversk stranded. That could be what they're trying to do. They could be trying to cut off the Russian troops, and maybe the Ukrainians are trying to create a situation where they're basically encircling the Russian troops, right? So seems like the Russians have to be aware of their flanks. A little further up north, there's a video which has emerged, which shows the infamous Kraken, the Kraken paramilitary group, ambushing a group of Russian soldiers and taking prisoners. Now it's interesting because at Bilohorivka, the Russians have claimed that they controlled the town for quite a while now, and they even claim that they controlled Rihorivka. So if they control these two towns, how did the Ukrainians manage to infiltrate these areas and take Russian soldiers prisoners? Because at one point we heard that the Russians they were attacking Serebryanka right here. And the thing is, the Kraken paramilitary group, the last we heard of them, they were actually fighting in Kharkiv. So hard to see it there with all the symbols, but last we heard of the Kraken paramilitary group, they were fighting in Kharkiv, just north of Kharkiv. They were fighting Russian troops there. But now they've just suddenly appeared down here, just north of Siversk. So the Russians claim that the Kraken paramilitary group are made up of ultra-nationalists, and that they're neo-Nazis, their members are neo-Nazis, and that the Ukrainians have recruited many of their members from prison. So, not a pleasant group there. They've been known to torture. The Russians claim they torture their soldiers, and they're really ruthless. But anyways, looking at the map, we can see that there's a road which connects these settlements together, right? And there's a road here, but if we actually zoom in to the south of these settlements, there's nothing. There's no roads, nothing really, see? No roads anywhere. So basically the Ukrainians could have snuck in through this area, maybe there's some bushes here they could have snuck in, right? Some shrubs and bushes. They could have easily snuck in and surprised some of the Russian soldiers and infiltrated. They could have done that. What's interesting is that yesterday another video emerged which showed Russian troops, Russian soldiers basically ambushing and killing a bunch of Ukrainian soldiers. So there's contradictory evidence that has emerged, and we have to wait and see what happens. We have to see. It's gonna take time for the dust to settle. So what the Ukrainians should be doing, if you ask me, is they should be pushing from these settlements to here. They should be trying to take this settlement, and while they're going on their frontal assault, we know the Russians claim they control Spirne, and they were fighting for Ivano-Darivka. So what they should try to do is make their way to these settlements here, and maybe from the north and south, what they should try to do is they should try to converge at Riznikivka, because if they do that, they will essentially cut off Siversk and encircle Siversk. But of course that's easier said than done. The Russians, it seems that their operational pause has come to an end, and it seems like they're trying to go on the offensive, although the Ukrainians are fighting them tooth and nail, because after the fall of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, basically the Ukrainian leadership, they stated that they would not allow another meter of Ukrainian soil to be taken by the Russians. So if the Russians are able to take Siversk, the whole house of cards might come crashing down. After Siversk, it'll be if the Russians take Siversk, it might be a decisive blow to the Ukrainians' morale, and this entire area might basically fall under the Russians. So the Ukrainians are really fighting as hard as they can to prevent the Russians from taking Siversk. Basically, if the Russians are able to take Siversk and Soledar, right here, which they're also trying to attack, if they can do that, they will be facing the M103, which is this. See the M103, this red line which represents a highway. They will be facing the M103 parallel. And why is that important? Because then they'll have the opportunity to break the M103, right? And that's important, because if they break the M103, I'll show you right here. If we zoom out, basically Sloviansk and Krasnohora and then Bakhmut are connected by the M103. And this entire area is also connected by all these other settlements here. All these other little settlements, and then Kramatorsk is one of the main settlements. But this entire area, it's almost like a big fortress, it's like a nut that the Russians have to crack, right? And this entire area is connected by these little settlements and the M103. Now, sending reinforcements and sending supplies through these little settlements, it's more tedious. The M103 is a highway and it's faster, it's a direct link. So if the Russians are able to break the M103 or take parts of the M103, cut off the link, they will essentially be cracking the nut or they'll be cracking the egg, breaking the egg. So the entire region could come crashing down if they can break the M103, basically, which acts as a main line of supply between Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, and then Bakhmut through Krasnohora. Anyways, if we zoom out, we see that the Russians are bombarding the Ukrainians basically everywhere, and if we zoom out further, we see all these blue symbols which represent basically aerial alerts, sirens sounding. So the Russians are launching missiles at the Ukrainians basically everywhere. If you recall, 2 months ago, the UK Defense Ministry stated that the Russians are running out of missiles. Well, guess what? The Russians are not running out of missiles. See all these siren alerts? Yeah, the Russians are attacking Ukrainian settlements everywhere, all over the country. And here I highlighted this settlement, Vinnytsia, because basically at Vinnytsia, I should have mentioned this in my last video, but a few days ago the Russians struck what they described as a military facility. They said there was weapons stored there and the Ukrainians were training soldiers there. But the Ukrainians claimed that only civilians were killed in the missile strike. Now, this picture shows the immediate aftermath, and if we look at this picture, we see paramedics, firefighters, but we also see several individuals in wearing military style fatigues, right? So I mean, I don't know, you can come to your own conclusion, but I mean, how did all guys in military fatigues show up at the site in the immediate aftermath, right? So, and if we look here, there's a video of the aftermath, and you can see that there's an old airplane on display in the front of the facility that was struck. So if the facility is not related to the military, why is there an old airplane on display, right? You see the airplane right here. So the evidence kind of speaks for itself. And here's another map of the situation at Siversk. This map doesn't show the Russians on the outskirts of Siversk, as they claim. And it shows that they're on the outskirts of Serebryanka. Now, if you recall, so the Russians had claimed that they were fighting for Serebryanska, but again, the Kraken paramilitary group seems to have infiltrated Bilohorivka and captured a few Russian soldiers. So it seems like the Russians are not, maybe they're underestimating the Ukrainians. They're expecting this area to fall really quickly, but the Ukrainians are attacking them from the flanks. And the Russians, if they want to prevail, they need to be securing their flanks, doing a better job of securing their flanks. Here's another map. In orange, you see the area that, this is the ISW map. In orange, this is the area that the Russians claim they control. And yeah, I mean, this map shows that they are on the outskirts, but it hasn't been verified. So we don't know. Maybe the Russians were forced back, and you see Serebryanka right here, Serebryanka. And this area right here, if the Russians had definite control over this area, then the Kraken group would not have been able to basically, you know, outflank them here and ambush Russian soldiers at Bilohorivka. So that's that. And you know, if we go further down at Soledar, the Russians have taken control over Nova Kamyanka, and they say they're on the outskirts of Soledar, but we don't know. The fighting is ongoing and the situation is fluid. And at Bakhmut, we see that the Russians, they have claimed to have taken Klinove, and they're fighting for Vesela Dolina. So the only way to reach Vesela Dolina, though, is a road from the northern side, because if the Russians had approached from the south, then we would have heard something about these towns here, but they haven't. Doesn't seem like they've taken these towns yet, so they must have approached from the north, which makes sense. They went up this highway right here and went to the west and then south. So they're fighting for all these little settlements, but it seems like they are also making a move on this settlement here, which is called Vershina. Recently, actually, I believe today, the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, he visited Ukraine. I'm not sure if he went to the front lines, but he visited Ukraine and he ordered the Russian army to go on the offensive. So maybe the Russians are getting a little impatient. Here we can see that the Russians are trying to secure this little bulge here. They control the area to the north, and they're trying to secure all the areas around this lake. Let's see, at Donetsk, the Russians are basically bombarding all the areas on the border. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it, guys. The Russians are bombarding Ukraine ruthlessly. We can see here that yesterday they bombarded Odessa, but again, the Ukrainians claim that the Russians struck a civilian warehouse, as they describe it. So, according to the Ukrainians, the Russians only target civilians, it seems. But in Ukraine, there's been a law passed, I know, that makes it illegal for people to publish pictures or videos of destroyed military facilities or assets. So that kind of makes sense. So 10 explosions at Mykolaiv. So yeah, the Russians are pounding away at Ukrainian positions. And yeah, I mean, the map speaks for itself. I mean, you can see all the symbols of artillery strikes and missile strikes, and this is the final push here, right? If the Russians take all these settlements here, and if they take, if they're able to take Kramatorsk, it'll be a huge blow to the Ukrainians. And because it's always harder to go on the offensive than it is to defend, right? So if the Russians succeed here, it'll be a huge political win for Putin and a huge failure for the Ukrainians. And then after that, some people say that the Russians are going to want to negotiate after that. So we don't know if that's going to work out or what's going to happen, but this is the final stretch, right? If the Russians take Kramatorsk, if they take all of these settlements here, Sloviansk, Bakhmut, starting with Siversk, then it's basically game over for the Ukrainians, in the Donbas at least, right? And the Russians, it seems like they might be willing to offer peace terms after that. So, anyways, we don't know exactly what's happening on the front right now. The situation is fluid, but we're gonna keep watching, and we'll see what happens. If anything, if there's any breakthrough, I'll keep you updated. So, anyways, guys, that's it. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.